Welcome to Focus on Why, the podcast where reflection sparks action. I'm Amy Rowlandson, and together we'll explore compelling stories, profound insights, and transformative experiences from inspiring guests worldwide. Feeling lost or unfulfilled? Searching for clarity, purpose, or meaning in your work and life? This podcast invites you on a journey of self-discovery to align your work with your values, shape your future with intention, and create a purposeful way of life. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why. Do you truly understand the power of a focus on why in business? Are your employees fully engaged? Do they consider their work meaningful? Or does your organization have purpose gaps? Focusing on key areas of employee engagement, contribution, fulfillment, well-being and purpose, all of which have proven links to increased productivity and profitability, I deliver inspiring, mesmerising and captivating talks and workshops providing clear, actionable steps to take. To discuss your specific business needs, reach out to me via the link in the show notes and together we can plug those purpose gaps. Today on Focus on Why, I am joined by Sarah Hubbard. Hello, Sarah. How are you?
Hello, Amy. I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And where are you joining us from?
I am joining you from Denver, Colorado this morning.
Very good. And how is it over there?
Breaching of fall. All of the colors are starting to change. It's crisp. It's like you can smell fall in the air. It is lovely right now.
Amazing. And this episode is going to be a little bit further down the line when it's released. So we will be in the midst of winter, but someone might be listening to it in the summer afterwards because that's how
you,
podcasts work. So
yep, you just never know.
no, but thank you for giving us that beautiful picture of a fall in Denver. And thank you also goes to Joel Salomon for introducing us. What a wonderful introduction this has been. So thank you, Joel. Here we go. What is it you're focusing on right now, Sarah?
I am focusing on a few things right now. So I am focusing on growing keynote speaking, teaching people how to network intentionally and actually get ROI from their networking. I am wrapping up the final publications and edits of my book called The Intentional Networker, which will be out by the time this podcast launches. And I'm also working on scaling and taking a little step back from a career that has served me well for the last 14 years, which is residential mortgage financing, and looking for ways to lean into still giving an exceptional client experience, which I deliver myself, and bringing on some more people so I can streamline and open up some more opportunities.
Wow. Fingers in many pies, as you say. Yeah.
Many buys.
But with a through note of connection, a through note of intention, for sure.
Mhm.
I want to dive into, I'm biased. I love books. And so I'm going to dive into that middle one first. Editing is it your first book?
My first book, and I'll be honest, writing has never felt like my strong suit of life. This verbal communication, video, in person connection has been my favorite way that I communicate. And so I never thought that I would actually write a book because it's always been such a hurdle for me. I'm actually dyslexic and I wasn't just diagnosed with that until college. And so I made it through all of grade school with good grades. And it wasn't that, but once I finally got that diagnosis and learned how I actually interpreted information better and how to actually accommodate, it changed everything. So I never thought that I would write a book. But after many years of basically coaching people on how to network and how to grow your business through personal development, business development, all of those things, somebody had said to me about 2 years ago, like, you should write a book. And I'm like, no way. I'm, that's terrifying. I'm definitely not going to do that. And then I started to think about it and record a little bit more of my conversations I was having. And I'm like, oh no, definitely have a book in here. And so I started on this journey at the beginning of 25. And I had a amazing person help. I am self-publishing, but she has helped coach me along the way and basically pulled the book out of me, much like we're doing right now, versus me sitting at a blank screen and typing. Technology is a beautiful thing right now. and I was able to verbalize and transcribe almost 90% of the book. And yeah, it has been for me a very fun journey. It hasn't been a very draining journey. I've really enjoyed leaning into some of the marketing tips that I've then put into other aspects of my businesses, and I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, it's great to hear. And what a fabulous asset it's going to be for anyone that gets their hands on it. Was that what was driving you to complete this? To know that it's going to help people?
Yeah, I originally, since I have been in the mortgage world for 14 years, it's a very crowded space. And a lot of people, when they hear what I do, whether it's real estate, mortgage, finance, insurance, I call them the firm. A lot of people automatically think they know who they are because there has been this stigma over these four entities that they're very selfish. They typically always know they don't give, and I was like, no, I think that there is some amazing humans in this space. So originally my thought was I could talk really well to those individuals. And then as I started kind of polling people and talking with people, I realized that attorneys, CPAs, even people that are in a business to business space like commercial real estate agents, coaches, we all need a form of networking in our lives. And you talk to people who are like, I should be doing this, but I don't enjoy it. Or I should be doing this and it's not getting me any return on my investment. And, I've come up with a framework that has helped make sure you can prepare yourself before you go in. And if you are more of the introverted side or more somebody that's not comfortable going to work a room of 100, like I could do in a second, there's some tools. You can lean into AI, you can lean into different prompts, and there's different ways that you can prepare yourself to maximize that hour, that 45 minutes, that 2 hours, that 3 day conference. And that's what the book is going to help show you how to do it and give you the tools that you could walk away and implement those into your business or into your life right after.
It sounds fantastic. And as someone who's about to go to a 3-day conference tomorrow, I am listening very intently to
Katie's
hear
like, give
what
me
it.
the goodies, baby. Give me the goodies.
But it is the case, isn't it, that you can often just turn up at an event and just say, "Oh, let's see how things go. Who do I bump into?" But the intention, the being intentional behind effort changes everything, surely.
It does. I mean, the first of my framework, I call it the MAP framework, is mindset and intention. And that takes preparation. You need to know who's going to, for example, you need to know who's going to be at that conference. Who are people that you want to connect with? Who might be people that you didn't even think would be a good opportunity for you to connect with? And I lean into AI because I think it's a really amazing tool. You can drop in full lists of people that are going to be there. You can drop in their LinkedIn profiles. You can drop in a lot of information and let it do the dirty work for you, right? Let it take the 5 minutes to do it for you and then compile the list of 5 to 15 people. And now you have a little bit more direction on maybe a morning that you're exhausted from travel or that you are not feeling 100%. Now you know, at least I need to talk to these 5 people and I've maximized my day at this conference, at this event, whatever it may be.
And that's what we're doing here, isn't it? We're maximizing time because it's the one resource that we can't have an infinite amount of. So lean into using it as best as we can.
Yep. And I'm not like inputting, everyone's like, there's a lot of legal stuff going on with the whole AI world. And I'm like, all of this stuff is on their website, their LinkedIn profiles. I'm not recreating anything. I'm just giving it the information through a prompt that basically can help me do better.
And what's important to you, Sarah, about doing better?
Great question. I was listening to another podcast a couple weeks ago, and a gentleman was talking about I feel like there's a culture across all societies, even in, where you are here in the States. If there's just needs to be more, 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 more. And I think that there is some truth behind that, but also we need to make sure that we're doing it properly. Like more doesn't mean doing more. More means sometimes looking at what I call as unsexy, that's something that's worked and sustained, but going deeper in it to making it better. So for me, if we are not trying to grow or deepen, we're kind of flat. And I've been an athlete all my life. And so, there's that drive to continue to do more, train harder, do more, go harder, go harder. And I think there's been a lot of change of sometimes the inner work, the meditation, that stuff is just as important to continue to go deeper. And so for me, those are the reasons why I personally strive for more and not take so much to add on more to the plate, but to go a little bit deeper. And it just keeps me growing because I'm curious. I'm curious about how people have had success, even the Jeff Bezos to the small business owner here in the town that I live in that has been in business for 35 years. There's a lot of similarities in those stories, and you have to be curious enough to learn about them and see what works for you to implement in your business. So if you're not growing, you're just kind of stagnant. And for me, that's just not something that I feel like aligns with who I am, nor is it what I want to teach my 2.5-year-old, almost 3-year-old that I have, that, you can want more and do more. And sometimes that doesn't mean adding more to your plate, but that means going deeper and taking some time to learn about other things.
There's something special about a toddler in terms of being one of the best mentors on the planet, right?
Yes. Every little thing I say, every little action, even when I was just coming up here to record this podcast. Mommy, you're going to work? What are you doing at work today? Because the actions and the energy that you put out, even for your little guy, it also affects everything that you do when you're interacting with people, potential referral partners, potential ways of getting business, all of it overlaps. So there's a lot of commonality in it.
Yeah, I hear you. And one of the things that is coming through again is this intentional action taking. And I'm a big fan of intentional action taking in terms of reflection being coupled with it. So it's not, as you said earlier, it's about the deepening. As an athlete, you don't just practice, you do intentional practice with the various particular exercises that are going to enhance that particular sport. So tell me, going back to where we first started, keynote speaking, what's going on with that?
So much like the book, I was asked to speak to one of my networking groups that I'm a part of here called Provisors. And my group leader had said, "Hey, you're one of the best networkers I know. I think it would be really beneficial if you talk to our group and see if you could help enhance their networking." And this was my first blip into that, not just the firm people need help. This group is made up of predominantly business to business professionals, lots of attorneys, CPAs, people that are very good at their practice, but not necessarily great at interacting with other people or growing their businesses. And I gave my talk initially, and the first question I got was, how do I actively listen? This was from an attorney. And I was like, oh, I had to step back and take this even deeper than I thought. We were just going through some surface level stuff here. And I brought him back and made me I asked him to me through, like, what does a client intake look like for you? Do you take notes? Do you turn off everything? Like, really broke it down simply. And then I realized, there is a really big need for this in attorneys and in CPAs and in engineers and different things. And so I just started doing it at no charge, just adding value to my community and the various networking efforts that I was doing. And then it just started growing organically. And then I was like, oh, I could look into keynotes. Somebody said to me, hey, you'd be a really great, like, get on stage, and not necessarily like motivational. Your stories are engaging. You have no problem talking. You can kind of fly off the cuff and not have it be so scripted. And I was like, you are correct. I actually really enjoy this. And so I started to apply for different conferences. 2 weeks ago, I was in Utah speaking to the Utah Mortgage Professional Association on outdated networking tips. And somebody said to me, why would that make sense for you? Why would you go talk to other mortgage professionals? And I'm like, because all of us as a whole, this whole entire entity has a stigma that we're really selfish. So if I can go and pour into you and change that stigma for 5 of the 75 people that were sitting in that room, I've done my job of bettering this community. And when I left, there was some real estate agents in the room and insurance agents and title people and all of these things. And they were all like, oh my God, I've never thought to do this. I've never thought to say this. I've never thought to prep. And so it just kind of like has something that's been like living in me, and I'm 41, and I was like, it's taken me 41 years to realize that I have something magical that I want to give to other people. I want to pour into them, and I want to give them tangible things that they can walk away with and implement into their lives immediately, 6 months from now, a year from now.
And this is the strange thing here in terms of it took you 41 years to realize the magic within you, but it also took other people to point it out to you. And this is the thing we think we need to search externally for our purpose, our reason, our abilities in terms of what is it I'm going to spend my time doing and who am I going to be? And as you've just proven, you create it from within.
All day long. I think, especially in our culture today, we've got it hitting us from every angle of social media, LinkedIn, emails, all the things that we see. And culture changed after COVID. I'm not necessarily good or bad, it just changed. But I would have never met you in person. We live countries away from each other with an ocean in the middle, right? But all of that is not a bad thing. And I think when you are open enough to receive information to let other people see the goodness that you have, it could help sit with you and redirect a little bit of, yeah, I've kind of always felt this, but now I have a little bit more validation and some more and some more and some more. And then going for it and taking the step. And it's not perfect all the time. I was listening to another podcast of a guy that gets paid $250,000 every time he keynotes, and he's got it down to where he enters the stage and how he pauses and all this stuff. I mean, I would love for that to all happen one day, but in the midst of all of this, it's just the message that I want to point out is how to network better, not have to be an extrovert to do it. Prepare yourself to have the success that is success for you, not because success means something else on social media or somebody else like that.
And there does seem to be a shift. And I think there's probably a bias with the guests that I have coming on the show because they are coming on a show called Focus on Why. We're talking about purpose. We're talking about the meaningful significance that drives that purpose in us. And so we also have this increased understanding of what success means for us as an individual, as
Hmm.
opposed to what society is dictating. So that's my question to you is what does success mean for you?
Yeah, this is a great question. If you would have asked me this question 6 years ago, it would have been all about money. It would have been millions of dollars that defines success, and that will open up all the doors that I need in order to have success. And maybe it was the journey of me having my little guy come to this world. It was tough. I'm an IVF mama and it wasn't easy. But while I think money is an amazing tool, success for me is really about the community around me and the impact that I have on people in every aspect of whatever professional direction I'm doing, whether it's mortgage, whether it's keynote speaking, whether it's podcasting, launching books. If you are in my orbit and in my circle and can touch the goodness and I can learn from you, that is the definition of success for me. I have done my job of being a great human, being a kind human, and learning and being curious. That is more the definition of success for me. Not how many loans did I close, how much money did I bring in. All of that is still important. I'm not saying we don't need to have money, and I'm not saying I work for free, but that is not the only defining reason of success today. If I have raised my little guy to be the best human that he is, not because I'm an extrovert and my husband's an introvert and I'm going to force him to be an extrovert but really is an introvert, whatever it is, that I'm just leaning into his superpowers, his tools that make him the person that he is. And the same for my husband and myself and any family member or friend. If I can enhance that, I have done my job and I have been wildly successful at it.
This word enhancing has come in a couple of times now. And we've talked about the intentional practice, but enhancing seems like a different element to me.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you said that because now that you said it, I'm like, oh, she's right. She's spot on with that. When I think of enhancing, I have I'm the oldest of between my sister and I, and oldest of all my cousins. And I've always just had this innate ability for giving and for helping others. And in that, I think I've just always been like, oh, how can I make this better? How can I make you a better person? And then that ipso facto makes me feel better. So I have somehow enhanced your abilities and I knew I've done the right thing. So that's great. So that's kind of just been always something that has been a huge value system for me. But when I think about it more and I think about the enhancement of others, I just think about it as a deeper connection, a deeper relationship of it being more than just surface of hi, how are you, how's your day? And even when we were just chatting before we started, you're like, it's been full. It's and it's not a bad thing, right? And I'm like, so good full or bad full? Because those are two really important things that people fill their schedules with, and it's not always good. But to enhance really just means, I think, I would just say have a deeper connection and bring out the goodness that is that person that's sitting across from you. Because while it may be different than mine, I just think it's still as beautiful. And if I could do a way, make it feel comfortable for somebody to shine, have their light shine through for 45 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I have enhanced not only their being, but their energy, the person they're showing up to be in their world, personally, professionally. And that I think is what is a huge driving force for me. That it's always a safe place here with me. And I would love that to be more for other people, that it's always a safe place to show up as you are and let you know that it's a beautiful thing, regardless if it's different than what I have, regardless if it's a different view, but I have a whole lot of respect and I'm going to help you amplify that so you're your best self in whatever aspect you're looking to show up in.
And when you just said that it was a case of taking your hand to your throat when you said about that connection and enhancing other people and being a safe place, I don't feel that that was coincidental that you went to your throat when you were talking about a
Not at
safe
all.
place.
Not at all. I had to really think about it because it's deep. It's really it's important. And when you're challenged to go a little bit more than just surface, it's not a bad thing. But yes, that is like I had to think about it like, what does this mean here? Really, really deep.
And I mean, I'm not a trained psychologist, but my mind goes to if you aren't able to speak your truth, then you're not in a safe place. And so when you said you put it to your hand to your throat and talked about being deep, you're creating a space where people can be themselves. And what I've also noticed is this two-way process. You talked earlier about the two-way learning and then also about this ability to give and to help, and that being a two-way process as well. So everything you're doing is, yes, it's about giving, but it's also about what you're receiving and that you're learning just as much from others as you're teaching.
All day long. I think that is the most important part of this is if we go back to that question of active listening, right? You might already think that you know how this person's going to react to the question or what they're going to say because you asked it, and maybe you've heard it 100 times and it is the same exact type answer. But there's emotion behind it for everybody, right? I'll bring it back to as simple as why do you want to buy a house? Tell me, and I ask that question a lot. And it's like, well, because I want to build wealth or because, I'm 40 and it should be time and this is this. But when I sit there and don't even ask any further and I let them continue to talk, what comes out is more of the deeper reasoning as to why, right? I've gone through a divorce. I don't know if my partner and I are really going to ever get engaged or take the next step. I need to give, my family's growing. I'm pregnant. I have had people here in Colorado buy houses for their dogs, right? So the reasoning, the shallow reasoning is always similar, but there's always more of a deeper reason. And when you can touch into that and bring whatever that you're trying to help them do to that why every single time, you'll have success all the time in whatever profession you're looking to do.
And this is where I say that purpose and the why are interconnected, but they're not the same. And the
Oh,
purpose
not the same at all. Yep.
right. Okay. So the purpose being the overarching intention that drives your direction in life, but the why is the meaningful significance that you assign to that. So with where you shared earlier about shining the light and forming these deeper relationships and connection, what's driving that for you?
I think that there is a lot of I personally believe people in general are innately good people. And I was listening to Gary Vee talk the other day, and he's like, even the people that have done bad things, like he talks about it, a scenario where his dad owned a liquor store, and there was a gentleman they hired, and this guy was basically stealing really high bottles of wine because he was doing the inventory for it and going out and reselling it on the black market because he was so desperate for money. And his Gary Vee's dad was like still to this day gutted by this gentleman that did this terrible thing of stealing. And Gary Vee's perspective was like, this guy was smart enough to do this and get crafty enough for himself to take care of that. Now, it hurt other people while he did it, but he was really trying to help have success for himself. And he was smart enough to do it. And so I think of that as, while this person maybe didn't do something super great, I think innately people have good intentions. A lot of majority of people actually truly want to help and want to support, but they're either too wrapped up in their lives or they just don't know how to do it. And it unsettles them when they don't have a way to solve it right then and there. And so I think what I really driving force for me is allowing people to see that and to lean into it and to show that there is a lot more goodness and kindness in this world than what the media, than what, the overarching culture is being pushed on us from all other levels. And so I would love to shine that light on all the people. Now, don't get me wrong, I meet people all the time where I'm like, that's maybe a no for me in regards to our compatibility. I maybe don't want to call you my best friend and you're my safe spot to call all the time, but they're still in your orbit and still in your community. So you still have to have respect and know that there's plenty of people out there that work for them. And I think that when you can do that, it'll only enhance your ability for open mindedness and kindness and things that will seep in and attracting the right people to you versus all of the other wrong people to you. Because I feel like when you are fake and you say that you want something because it what you think it is right or what you think is successful, that's what you're going to start attracting. It's what you're going to attract as business partners. It's what you're going to attract as clients. It's what you're going to attract as your friend group and who you're going to spend, your personal time with. And if you sit back and go, wow, I'm wildly unhappy, it's because this is what you thought you needed to do versus sticking to what it is, being curious about it. And then it's the dynamic starts changing and not in a bad way. We haven't forgot about those other people. They just aren't your people. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And so I think that that right there is the real reason. I have a sign in my house, be a kind human. It's right as you walk in and out of my house. My husband's like, he's always kind of down on it. He's like, God, why does it say human? I'm like, because we all are. We're all human. We're all not perfect. But if we can go out there and bring a little kindness out or give a little kindness to somebody, even if it's a smile, holding of a door, eye contact for somebody that is going through something terrible and you just don't know it. That right there is probably the driving purpose of being able to give light for 5 seconds to somebody versus it having to be constant all the time of just negative, negative, negative.
What would he have wanted the sign to say if it doesn't
I
say
think
human?
be a kind person or something. I don't know. I think he just my cousin, who's unfortunately no longer with us. He's literally was the same age as me and dealt with a lot of alcoholism and depression. And he used to always to say, "Be a good human." And he used to call everybody humans instead of people. And for me, it's just something that resonates. Like it makes me think of him a little bit of all the goodness that he had, even though he was dealing with something absolutely terrible and big emotions and depression and stuff. It just there's something about that word that makes me like internally giggle a little bit like, we are humans. We should be good.
I love that. And it is so important, isn't it? These sort of nuances that we attach a significance or a meaning to, that they are there in our lives, serving as a great reminder. What's coming through, Sarah, is this incredible amount of, almost infinite amount of compassionate understanding and perspective to not jump to conclusions or have a bias or any kind of judgment without understanding someone first.
100%. And I'm not saying that if it doesn't align with my values, that's okay. I can still have enough of a boundary to say, okay, thank you, and move on. But enough respect to know that while I don't necessarily align with that, that's a okay. And I'm glad I gave you a space to share whatever that is of who you are and then move on to the next.
Before you came on the podcast, Sarah, did you have a solid understanding of your purpose and how it features in your everyday life and work?
I think I had a pretty good understanding, but I will just tell you that last little bit that you said, unlimited compassion. I was like, oh, she just nailed it right on the head, baby. That is what it is. And people say that all the time. You can make friends with a rock. People just share their stories with you all the time. Like, and everybody wants to be your best friend. And I'm like, yeah, I just kind of it's been that way my whole life. And I think that that right there, what you just said, is the reason why it has been that way for me without ever defining it with an actual term.
And there are these people who are just magnetic in terms of they do attract people to them in many ways. My husband and I have a term for it, and we call them molecular leaders. And what it does is it draws people together. And if they move room, people will go and find them, they'll seek them out. And it's just this sort of gravitational pull. And I feel that that's what you're exhibiting here because of the kindness, because of the understanding, the perspective, the willingness to give people time. You draw people into your circle, into your orbit, as you call it. And because of the gravitation, they can't go because they are literally then orbiting around you.
That's a beautiful term that you and your husband use. I've written it down because I'm like, I'm going to use that. That is 100% accurate. And yes, magnetic gravitational pull, it's something why I feel like I probably will love keynote speaking so much. And it's not because I'm trying to talk to the whole room that, the 50 people that feel it will be my people, right? And that's what I really want to do. Somebody asked me the other day, if you won the lottery and had billions of dollars and you never needed to do work again, what would you do professionally? And I was like, I would pour into people all day long. I would be on stages and I would just be giving goodness in every aspect. And I'm continuously learning professionally, personally through podcasts are my jam at the moment because I don't really have time to read like I did prior to having a almost 3-year old. But you've nailed it, honey. Molecular leaders, and I think that's the reason why it's going to be one of those ways that will be a very big success for me once the ball starts rolling a little bit more because it's just something that innately is me.
And this is the thing, that alignment of when you find yourself at a point in life where you've had enough experience and been exposed to enough things to then understand where your skill sets really can take off and who you can serve because of the experiences that you've had and the desire, who do you want to help and what stigma do you want to change and challenge in terms of people's perception. But it does all come down to people and relationships in terms of the connection, and where there is a disconnection, you're looking to reestablish a better connection between the community that you are absolutely serving in so many wonderful ways. And yeah, this respect, curiosity, growth, passion, compassion, and faith in people, in all people, regardless of what they may or may not have done. There is this forgiveness, not condoning bad behavior, but definitely a forgiveness and an understanding for why they might be behaving in that way. So, Sarah, wow, what a beautiful human you are.
Right back at you. Thank you for listening and pulling out some more goodness that is already there and putting it into clear words for me and clearer meaning that I'm like, yes, yes, Amy, yes.
Well, as you said right at the beginning, 90% of your book has been transcribed from just speaking it out. And sometimes it is the best way is to have someone reflect and be the mirror that you need to sort of see the reflection of who you really are sometimes, because we can get so wrapped up in our work that we don't often see that true reflection.
All the time.
Sarah, how could someone reach out and connect with you? I'm sure they're thinking, I need to have a Sarah in my life and not just a Sarah, but Sarah Hubbard.
I am most prevalent on LinkedIn and Instagram for my socials. So my LinkedIn is Sarah Hubbard, and you will see parentheses formerly Flannery. I networked for a really long time with my maiden name and got married about 6 years ago, and so I did make that change. And then on Instagram, it is at Sarah SarahAnn, and then Flan FLANN. My book, The Intentional Networker, will be out on Amazon. It also will be physical print in all of the storefronts. And then my website is sarah at sarah-hubbard.com.
Amazing. Well, all those links are in the show notes. So if you're out and about right now, don't panic. It's there. You can go and look later and connect with Sarah. Please do, because she has this gravitational pull and will be connecting you to the right people, I know for sure. So thank you again to Joel. And thank you very much, Sarah, for sharing why you do what you do. Do you have a word or two, please, for the listener to close out today?
Yeah, I've said it multiple times, but curiosity and kindness will get you so far in our world today, for better or for worse. If you can have that lens and that perspective, it will help change your orbit and your energy that you put out.
This episode's over, but let's keep the conversation going. How has this episode impacted you? Share your insights, takeaways, and reflections with actions on social media, or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Your feedback creates powerful ripple effects, helping others to discover its value. Want to dive deeper into purpose? Check the show notes for links on how to work with me, where to buy my new book, Focus on Why, Create a Purposeful Way of Life, available in paperback, ebook, and audiobook, and where to sign up for Friday Focus, my weekly newsletter. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why.